Danny, no doubt, you, with your association to Liverpool, one of many, many, many Liverpool associated people, hugely disappointed with the outcome on Saturday night. When you look back on it, is it a missed opportunity? Was it a moment that many, many people associated with the club will always regret that wasn't fully grasped on the night?
I think the players will be disappointed. Of course they will. It's a missed opportunity to win the biggest trophy in Europe, isn't it? It's something that they will have to get over and come back from. They've won it before, a lot of them, so that's okay. But yeah, of course they'll be disappointed. It's human nature to be devastated when you lose a final of such importance. I think the performance was good. It wasn't scintillating Liverpool, but it was a good performance. Made good chances, played with good energy, looked good defensively, limited Real Madrid to a few chances. Well, one shot on target, I think it was. Come up against a wonderful goalkeeper, resolute defence when they went a goal up. Just wasn't meant to be.
Did they have Liverpool on the rack? Did they have them really on the rails? Real Madrid on the rails. Were Liverpool at any stage totally dominant?
I thought there was a spell in the first half where it was inevitable that the goal was going to come. I said to Simon actually earlier, when he made that save from Mane and hit the inside of the post, even then I thought to myself, oh, you know what, it could be one of those nights. But they weren't playing against mugs, playing against a very, very talented, experienced team. But a week ago, ultimately, you look at it like this: they were a point away or 2 points away, and a game away from greatness, from achieving something nobody else had ever done.
Yeah.
So when they wake up after the disappointing night, they can be proud of what they've achieved. Now, in 10 years' time, will this be looked back on as one of the greatest seasons in Liverpool's history? No, because they won 2 domestic cups. And
will they look at this differently? I think they will look at this opportunity differently than the one that was taken away by Manchester City. Man City took the Premier League away from them by being arguably as good, if not a better team at times. Whereas I don't think Real Madrid are a better team. This is people saying that we're all disappearing up our backsides and being biased towards Liverpool with Michael Owen's commentary and other people's commentary before the game. I think Liverpool are a better team than Real Madrid, but Real Madrid somehow have found their way to beat all the other sides that actually on paper were better. I think if you put Liverpool, Man City in La Liga, they win that league. I think if you put Real Madrid in the Premier League, they don't.
Correct.
But in these games, somehow or another, Madrid find a way through.
In answer to your question, I'd be surprised if any player was to come out and say they weren't more disappointed with losing that final than winning it. Yeah, I agree with you.
Because it was in their hands more than Man City.
In their hands against a team that usually concedes chances that you feel you can beat. And also, let's be honest, winning the league's a phenomenal achievement, but those big finals, European finals, get remembered for years to come
Did you think, I thought, I sat in a pub with people cheering Real Madrid got in this goal, or English fans, and we'll perhaps get to that later on in the discussion.
It's very unlike you sitting in a pub.
I did, because I was watching it with a group of people, and as soon as Madrid scored, I thought, done.
I felt like that, yeah.
Done.
Yeah, maybe that was the Liverpool in me, just fearing the worst. I thought there was some great... I mean, Konate had a great game. I thought he was terrific.
He was terrific, yeah.
But saying that, if you look at some of that Madrid side that conceded so many goals and chances against City and Chelsea became resolute and hard to beat in that second half, and found a shape and a pragmatism that I hadn't seen.
But they worked Liverpool out a little bit, didn't they? They didn't allow Diaz to go in behind. They didn't allow certain things that Liverpool were very good at doing, and the way that Carlo Ancelotti defended from the very first minute, which was, we're not going to defend high, even on free kicks, we're going to defend on the 6-yard box, so no one's got any space in behind us, and that's where Liverpool pride.
Some of their key players stepped up. They really stepped up on the night, like Carvajal, like Casemiro. And interestingly, what Simon was saying there about, all right, it was a 1-0 defeat, but and the but is there. Certainly, it was there with Klopp, because afterwards he was still defiant about what Liverpool have done.
These boys played an outstanding season. The 2 competitions we couldn't win, we didn't win for the smallest possible margin. 1 point, 1-0. So the difference between 2018 and now is that I see us coming again, and not in 2018. I wished it, but I couldn't know. But these boys are really competitive. They have an incredible attitude. It's a fantastic group, and we will go again, definitely. And tomorrow we will celebrate the season. It's good that we don't have to do that now immediately, but after a night's sleep, the boys will realize how special it was what they did. And even if nobody on this planet would understand that we have a parade tomorrow, we still will do it. But, how I said, the club is in a good moment, we will go again.
And they will go again. The club is in a good moment, as some of the foreign managers love to say. I love that
The
expression.
club's in a great position.
In a good moment. Yeah, but Danny, having said that, 330 minutes in finals for Liverpool without scoring a goal from open play. What does that tell us?
Not a lot. Liverpool scoring goals isn't a problem. I mean, you're talking about tight matches.
It is. 330 minutes in finals. They couldn't score one in open play.
But Chelsea did. They scored. They won both those games against Chelsea.
Yeah, on penalties.
Yeah, but
what do you attribute that to? Because ultimately you've got to overcome teams like Chelsea and Tuchel's tactical nous and Ancelotti's tactical brilliance. If you're a team that's an outstanding season, and he's right, it's an outstanding season. It's an outstanding season to be in every game, in every situation, to the last kick of the game. And that's what they've done by being in the Premier League and the European Cup and the FA Cup and the League Cup. But what do you make to the argument? It's a fair argument. You ain't scoring goals in open play against difficult sides that are competing against you, i.e. Chelsea.
It's got to be a cause for concern. Real Madrid did and won.
It's not a cause for concern when you win the games. Not a cause for concern. It's a cause for Liverpool.
But you're not scoring from
shootouts.
open play. You stand less of a chance.
When you get to the final of big competitions, you play against high quality opposition. Chelsea won champions of Europe last season by being very good defensively.
But Liverpool lost on Saturday night.
Yeah. They lost and they didn't score in the final, hence the fact they lost the game. But they also scored 2 in Seville when they lost the game. They scored 1 against Real Madrid in the last Champions League final they lost and scored, but lost. But
surely you give yourself a chance. That I mean, look at the Europa League final. Rangers scored in open play. So did Eintracht Frankfurt.
Jim,
we went further.
Let's talk about the game in isolation. They had 9 shots on target. You could argue 3 of them were world-class saves. Right, on another day, 1 goes in and they get the job done. We're not talking about. Did they make chances? Did they play positively?
But they didn't.
Did they freeze?
No,
they didn't freeze.
But there's no guarantee of that. Here's a pushback on that. Liverpool go behind, they don't come back. Madrid go behind and they do come back. So in this instance, perhaps Real Madrid, if Liverpool gone ahead, you say job done. I would wager Madrid might have come back because they've proven it in every single incarnation.
All ifs and buts, and one's a one-off game, the other's a two-legged. Very different mentality.
But you still have to come back, don't you?
You do, and they've shown great resilience. I'm not taking anything away from Real Madrid. I was asked a question about scoring goals in finals. If you win finals, it doesn't matter if you score or don't score. If you win or lose, you're judged on whether you win or lose.
But surely it does.
Yeah, but it's a pick-em, isn't it?
It doesn't when you're playing Chelsea.
In open play.
Hold on.
Liverpool's much saluted firepower doesn't show up in open play sense. And 330 minutes without scoring an open play tells its own story, Danny.
If we talk about Madrid game, yes, the fact they didn't score a goal is their fault. That's why they lost. I take it.
But it didn't score against Chelsea either.
No, but nor did.
But if Chelsea scored, then would Liverpool lose those games? Because neither team scored an open play. So we're not talking about Chelsea, we're talking about Liverpool.
Chelsea and Liverpool were terrific games where they both. Chelsea and Liverpool were terrific games where they both had lots of chances and could have scored 3 or 4.
And they could have lost that final of penalty.
But they
Chelsea
didn't.
They won a penalty shootout, right? And in the one game when someone scored against you, you've lost. If Chelsea had scored, are we saying hypothetically for the purpose of this conversation that if Chelsea had scored in those finals, Liverpool would have lost those games as well?
No.
Why not? Because the only reason they won it was on penalties.
We don't know that. What if Liverpool
gone to penalty shootout,
Chelsea
they might have beaten Madrid.
Back?
But they didn't, and it didn't go to penalty shootout. And the one team that scored a game against in the
I don't
final
understand
won
the
the game in 90 minutes.
Liverpool
don't score goals in big games against teams that are difficult to break down.
Okay, so
and the stats prove it, Danny.
You're talking about the 3 finals, right? Fair enough, and not scoring goals.
Yeah.
Winning finals and losing finals is how you judge them. We've always talked about winning trophies on this show and judging people, but whether you win or lose them, irrelevant of.
Yeah.
So let's move away from the lack of goals in those 3 finals. Let's look at the trophies they've won and the ones they haven't, because that's ultimately where you're going to be judged.
Right.
And in 10 years' time, when we're looking back, I mean, if Liverpool next year go and win the league and the Champions League, we'll be talking about next season being better than this one, based on the fact they won. Yeah? Not whether they did or didn't score.
I mean,
not whether they did or didn't score.
2005, where you come from 3-0 down and win on penalties, isn't judged on a penalty shootout. It's judged by the fact that Liverpool came from 3-0 down and brought it back to 3-all.
Okay. Would you be talking about it if they'd lost on penalties?
No,
or I
agree. The overriding point is about winning games,
argument, Danny.
But they didn't win the Champions League.
Have you seen how many goals Liverpool have scored this season?
Yes, I know, but the point is this: Saturday night was the biggest of big stages.
Well, is the Champions League semi-final?
Real did it. They didn't.
Is the Champions League semi-final, quarter-final, FA Cup semi-final, League Cup semi-final, the last 10 games in the Premier League where they've got to win them all? Are they big games?
Of course you have.
So
nothing.
Okay, but let's go to the opposition then. We're talking about the opposition they play against.
Chelsea.
So when
Champions League by being pragmatic.
Sure, but we're not talking about Chelsea. We're talking about Liverpool.
We're talking about Liverpool not scoring against Chelsea
But we're talking about teams that make it difficult for Liverpool. If you want to open the game up like Man City do and make it a game of football where the opposition, the best team comes out, Liverpool will score against Man City. They will score. And they'll score against other sides that aren't as good as Liverpool in that particular component. Whereas Chelsea and Real Madrid are able to negate Liverpool. They're able to. Now, you say, sod all that. It doesn't matter. They win a penalty shootout. It doesn't defeat the argument that they have nullified Liverpool's attack. And Liverpool, in that final game, could not muster enough to overcome the fact that Madrid did score one goal. And you have to ask the question.
And that's undeniable.
In a season of how many games? I don't know how many they've played. A ridiculous amount. They've lost 4 games.
Well, it's not going about how many games they've played.
Right. So, no, but what I'm saying is, over a period of time, they've not struggled to score goals, have they? So
but they have in 3 finals.
What you're doing is
what you want about?
Well, are the finals the biggest games of the season where the opposition?
Yes, because they define the season, don't they?
Yeah, but do you play the best opposition in the finals generally? Yes. Are Chelsea very good defensively? Are Liverpool very good defensively?
Well, it depends if you're playing Wigan and you're Man City in the FA Cup final. I don't know what example you're making.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.